welcome to Woolly Wednesday. My name is Jessie and this is Miss Late Pages. For those of you who are new, welcome. For those of you who are returning, hi, happy to see you. Today is a day. I don't know if y'all have days like this, but today is one of those days where my brain is acting like a toddler who doesn't want to go out. So it's just kind of like I'm trying to get my stuff together and I'm trying to stay on schedule and I'm trying to get stuff done and my brain is just like screaming, "No, no." Yeah, so it's one of those days. Wee. I don't know if that's just a me thing or if that's an ADHD thing or what, but some days it really does feel like my brain is just screaming like a small child. Um, Even just to get up in the morning can sometimes be an argument and a negotiation inside my own brain. So sometimes it's fun to live in here. Anyway, I hope y'all are having a great week. It's a busy, busy week gearing up for Needlework Expo, which I keep saying. Thankfully, Needlework Expo is this weekend. So once that is done, then it's just getting the orders together, waiting for the orders, for all my orders from the designers to show up and getting all those packaged. I'm going to do as much as I can on the front end because I'm one of those people. I need things to be efficient. Like, I can't stand if I don't have to waiting to the last minute to get something done. So my plan for this weekend while I'm visiting shops and stuff is to actually start putting together groupings of things because I have some folks who have ordered in-stock items as well as pre-stock or pre-order items, and they're going to have them all shipped together with their pre-orders. So I'm going to start working on getting all of that separated out, and working on anything I can to get organized before the fact, so that when those charts start actually getting here, I can just whip them out, get them in the mail, get them out as quickly as possible because that makes me happy, getting stuff together and being efficient. So it also keeps my brain from going, ah! So it keeps me from having panic attacks and stuff like that. So yeah, so I apologize if you're here for the knitting and the yarn and stuff, and Needlework Expo is not your thing. It's just that I'm one of those people when something is consuming all of my time and consuming my brain, I have trouble not talking about it. So that's just where I am this week. Next week, maybe we can talk about something else. But anyway, like I said, I hope your week is going well. Mine is very busy. I'm hoping this weekend will be fun and exciting and not too exhausting. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, deep breaths. I do have multiple whips to show you today, which is fun. I didn't have a whole lot to show you last week. I don't have a whole lot of purchases or anything like that to show you. I apologize, I have something in my eye. Anyway, I don't have a lot of other stuff to show you, but I do have some whips to talk about. So let's get right into it because I am behind schedule because my brain is a toddler. Um, so I have worked some more on my temperature shawl here. It's looking very, very blue today. I guess the color balance is a little bit off, because everything looks pretty dark and somber today. Um, but I think I'm through February 22nd or February 23rd. So I'm still a week or so behind, but I have stitched several rows. So this green line right here is where I was the last time I showed it, and then I've stitched all of this purple. So that was when we had those ice storms. And then we had a day of blue, and the next color is going to be yellow because then we had 60-degree weather for the last few days. So, or at least for several days last week. I think the temperatures have gone back down yesterday and the day before. So we're having sun now, and you might be able to tell because it's actually brighter in here, but it's sunny now, but it's cold. Colder. It's not icy cold, but it's in the colder range. So, but I'll have some yellow stripes intermixed there, so that'll be fun. So that's the temperature shawl as it sits right now. I also worked on my Empower People bandana. I really should have this finished by now. For whatever reason, I just never take it out to work on it, and I think it's because it's a really simple pattern, and that's part of the problem for me is that it just is the same repeat over and over and over. which makes it very, very easy, but also makes it a little bit boring to knit for me. But I have had more occasion lately where I'm not wanting to think too hard or have to follow a pattern. And this is perfect for not having, if you need to take a pattern or if you need to take a piece of knitting somewhere where you don't have to pull out a piece of paper to count rows and you don't have to pull out a pattern to make sure that you're staying on track, this is the thing that you want because it's essentially just, um, it's 2 rows that you just repeat again and again and again. Now I have taken some liberties with the design, and it's funny because I had to get my car inspected and get an oil change because y'all, it's been a year since I got my car inspected, and it's been a year since I got my oil change because I haven't driven anywhere. I used to drive 40 minutes back and forth to work every single day, and since March 12th of last year, I haven't had to drive to work. So I only have 3,000 miles on my car in the whole of last year. It's crazy. Less than 3,000 miles. Anyway, so I need to get my oil changed and my car inspected. And so I took this with me to do while I was sitting and waiting. It was actually very quick, which I was happy about. But I decided to try going back to the actual pattern as I was sitting there. So the actual pattern is like a purl on the end, and then you do some stuff. But when I first started this, that was not working for me. I didn't like the way that it was looking, and that was because at the time I was knitting in the back loop, and so the purling and the knitting in the back loop were not playing well the way that they should have. So I adjusted the pattern, so now it's a knit in the front, and then I think it's a knit in the front, knit front back, and then you knit the rest of the row. And when you come back, you actually do a knit two together, then a knit front back. So that's how you get this. I don't know if you can tell, but that's how you get this kind of nifty edging right there. I think it's nifty anyway. So I decided to go back to the original pattern to see how it would look. I didn't really like the way the edging looked compared to the edging that I had created. And also, because the oil change didn't take as long as I thought it did, I had to put everything down in the middle of a row. And when I came back to it, it turns out that I had started knitting in this direction. So I was knitting this way. And then I put it in the bag. When I took it back out, I accidentally started knitting back that way instead of finishing the row. And I was going to try to just go with it, but it created this really weird look. And then I knew probably nobody would have noticed, but because I knew that half of it had one extra row compared to the other half, it just bothered me. So I ended up tinking back 5 or 6 rows. So I did have more progress on this than I do now. I think I've only knitted 1 or 2 rows since I tinked it back, but that's where we are right now. I need to measure it because once I get to about, I'm probably going to do 20 inches along this edge. I think it's this edge. No, it's this edge, the diagonal edge. Once you get to about 20 inches along this way, 18 to 22, whatever length you prefer. I have a fairly large neck, so I think I'm going to go to at least 20 inches on this side. Once I get that, then I'll do a 2-inch section where I don't increase anymore, so it'll look kind of like this end on the other side, and then I will join them, and then I will have a nice bandana, I mean, I guess I'm gonna wear it more like a cowl, but yeah, I definitely need some more length on that because that's too close to my neck. So probably another 2 inches of knitting, and then the 2-inch joining piece, and then this will be done. So I probably should put some more work into it, just so I can actually get it off the needles. I do, and I think I've talked about this before. I do really enjoy the drape of it, the way this fabric hangs and the way it feels. I didn't like knitting with this particular yarn when I first started because this has that stellina that I've talked about that is kind of like just poking out all over the place, a little bit like mohair or something like that. So I'm not really a fan of the stellina just being all willy-nilly all over the place. And the yarn was kind of splitting. But now that my knitting technique is a little bit better, I'm having less of an issue with that, and I actually really enjoy knitting with it. Well, I enjoy more knitting with this. This is not my favorite yarn to knit with, but it's it's not as hideous to knit with as I originally had felt. So that's where I am with my Power People bandana. Focus, please. Thank you. So that'll be fun to wear. And that'll be a really nice work piece too, because this is a nice, it's a nice dark purple with just a little bit of shine. I think this will be a really versatile piece to wear when I'm back in the office, when I'm forced to actually be with people again. Uh, it's funny to me because a lot of folks, especially at my office, there are a lot of folks who are just champing at the bit to get back into the office space. And I just don't personally, and this is my own personal opinion, personally, I don't understand it. I really enjoy working from home. I had a hard time transitioning in the beginning. And I'll be frank with that. I had a hard time transitioning, and part of that was because um, when I brought my computer and everything from work, from the office to the house, suddenly there was no separation of work and home life, especially because I had to set up my computer in the middle of living space. And I had a thought and I've lost it. But I had to set it up just in the middle of everything. And I didn't have, oh, that's what I was going to say. I didn't have all of those little tiny cues that you don't think about on a regular basis to help me get into a work brain. So just the whole process of getting up in the morning, putting on certain clothes, driving to the office, and then being in that particular visual space. I didn't realize how much that did to put me in a certain frame of mind so that working was easier. So trying to get into that frame of mind in my home space when I didn't have a home office established was really, really difficult. I'm having, it took 3 or 4 months for me to start to really develop a good balance or at least a separation and go, okay, well, it's the end of my working day. So the work laptop goes off and I need to get up from this table and I need to go do something else. If I come back later, because I was doing it in my craft space, basically, I was doing work and in my craft area, which was in a different room at the time. So, I would have to actually physically get up out of that space. Even if I came back to do crafty stuff, it's like, okay, work laptop goes over here. I had to do certain very specific things to help my brain disengage from work and feel like I was now at home. Well, things are a little bit different now. I think in November, I believe it was November, I finally got this space opened up and started organizing it and getting it set up. So you can't see it, but the other side of the room is actually my workstation. So that is my desk with my printer. Usually this computer that I'm recording on, as well as my work computer, are both sitting over there. So because that's a separate space and it's a desk, I have a much easier time doing work things, whether it's my own personal business stuff that I do after hours on the weekends, or whether it's work that I do during the day. I have a much easier time getting into that brain space now that I have a separate physical space. So my crafting area is here. I also have a chair, a comfy chair and an ottoman, and one of the kitties is laying on the ottoman. But I have a comfy chair where I can do crafting. I have this table where I can do crafting. So this is my creative space, and over there is my workspace. That's where I put together Etsy orders. That's where I do my my daily work with my regular job. To where I do all the work stuff. So that has made it much, much easier. So now that I have this, I don't want to go back to the regular office. Because here, for the most part, I don't have to talk to people. There's just my husband and me and the cats, and it can be really exhausting for an introvert like me to have to deal with people on a daily basis. And the particular job that I have, while it's totally fine that I'm an introvert and my supervisor is very much an introvert as well, the people that we work with are very much extroverts, and that's necessary for the type of work that they do. We're more like back of the house, dealing with data and making sure things are correct and that processes are running the way that they should. So we're back end, not back end. We're not client facing. whatever they say. Anyway, we're back of the house kind of, whereas everybody else, they're the front-facing people, the client-facing people who have to actually go and talk to people and network and be social. That's their job, is to go and be and do with other people. So it's great that they're extroverted, but it is exhausting for an introvert to deal with extroverts all day long. And in this environment, when I actually interact with them, it is on a much different in a much different way. And it is much less exhausting, even though I did talk in my whip and chat, stitch and chat, about how Zoom meetings can still be exhausting, because it is expending energy to interact with people. And for an introvert, that's just an exhausting thing. Even when I love the people, even when I really enjoy the time together, it can still be tiring. And it's frustrating because when you want to spend time with people, you don't want to be exhausted when you're done. But it's part of being an introvert. So anyway, that was a long digression. Let me talk about my last whip. So I've also done lots of work on my changing staircases. Look how big. I can't even hold it all on camera now. This is huge. So, um, when I talked to you last time, and I do have the appropriate progress marker. So this is actually this is indicative of where I was last time I showed this to you. It's hard to see here, but look how much progress. So, when I last talked to you, I had 3 lace sections left and 2 stockinette sections left. Well, now I am in the last stockinette section. I just started that last night, and I have 1 lace section, and then it's finished. Finished. So I started this sometime last year. I think I started all of these projects and whips that I'm showing you, and whip, by the way, is a WIP, work in progress. Um, all of these whips that I'm showing you here and on FlossTube, most of them I started after quarantine started last year, which is kind of weird. I guess it's because I'm home so much more, so I actually have more time to work on things. Um, but also, when you're in a Zoom meeting, it's much more acceptable to knit while people are talking versus when you're in an in-person meeting. Just saying. Um, so this is Changing Staircases. This is a pattern from dragonhoarddesigns, I believe. The link is definitely in my link haven. This yarn is from Paisley Pearl. She is a dyer in Stafford, Virginia, and I love, love, love her colorways. And now that I'm getting close to being finished with this, I'm wondering if I need to buy some more of this, because I don't think I'm going to have as much left over as I had originally expected. But I'm in love with this colorway, and this is called Electric Avenue, this particular colorway. So it's got these fabulous neon colors, but it's interspersed with this darker kind of navy blue, and I just love the way that it looks. It's fabulous. I can't wait to be finished with this. Um, so once this is finished, then I will have to figure out how to block it. So that's going to be the next adventure with this one. I do have some blocking mats. And little pro tip, if you are looking for blocking mats, don't bother going to even Amazon or anything like that and buying those really expensive knitting blocking mats, because what you can do is, if you have a Five Below near you or some similar store, they have exercise mats. They're meant to go on the floor, like fatigue mats, to keep you from having so much impact on your joints and stuff like that. First of all, they're, I think, at least half again, if not twice as large as the knitting blocks that you'll buy from anywhere else. But they're also like $3 a piece instead of like 20 bucks for 2 or whatever it is. So yeah, do yourself a favor and go get the exercise mats. At some point I'll show them to you. But I do have the mats so that I can lay this out. My big nervousness is, in most types of blocking, you have to use some amount of moisture, and that can be dicey when you're working with hand-dyed yarns. So what I may actually do, because she's awesome, is I will contact Rachel Keener, who is Paisley Pearl Yarn. I may contact her and ask her what is the best way to dampen this to get it to do blocking. Because I think what I might be able to do, I know there's a thing called steam blocking. Rachel Ray knows better about that than I do. But you can steam block things. You can also just use like a spritz bottle just to get it just moist enough, or just damp enough. Let me use damp because I know some people have an issue with the other word. But get it just damp enough that you can stretch it out. And the whole point of blocking is just to basically give the piece a memory of the shape that it should have. So you want it just damp enough that it's going to stretch out for you, and then you put pins down to keep it in the shape, and then you let it dry that way, and then theoretically it'll stay that shape forever. So with something like this, blocking is kind of important because you have these awesome little teeth here on the side, and you want to be able to, and especially with the lace rows, the little teeth are not real, um, they're not real solid, just because of the nature of the stitches and stuff. So you really want these little teeth to show, because they look really cool and that kind of thing. So anyway, so that's the next step with this. I kind of feel like this will be finished by the time I talk to y'all next week. It just depends on how much time I have knitting this weekend. But as I said, I only have 2 sections left, and then it's a cast off. So I don't think it'll take very long. I'm kind of excited. I'm nervous and excited because the nervous part comes from the fact that I have to block it. But the excited comes from the fact that this is the first knitted piece of any real size that I will have finished, and this is the first complicated piece. Actually, it's not the first really complicated piece because I did do that mixtape cowl. So technically, they're probably on the mixtape might be slightly more complicated, but this is the first lace project that I ever picked up, so it's kind of special to finish it. So anyway, okay, so that's all of my whips for this week. All of my works in progress. And the only thing else that I have for you is, actually, I'll talk about 2 things. I have one thing to show you and one thing to share. So I had purchased, and I don't know if I ever mentioned it here, but Rebel Woolworks, who is one of my favorite dyers, she's out of Oregon. Tara of Rebel Woolworks. My mouth does not want to say those words. She recently did, I don't know if she still has them available on her site or not, but she recently did a sale of mystery mini skeins. And basically it was like all the leftover stuff from all the different mini things that she's done for the last several months. And you could choose how many skeins you wanted. So you could buy 1 skein, you could buy 6 skeins, you could buy 25 skeins, whatever, however many skeins you wanted. And you would basically just get an assortment of stuff that she had left over from different collections and stuff she'd done. So I bought some. Because of course I did. And those arrived last week. Okay, pardon the crinkling. So I have a big bag of mini skeins. And there are some fantastic colors. And it's funny because some of these I recognize. So, like these colors, I'm pretty sure all 4 of these, and probably some of these others, are from the Halloween collection. This one especially I remember because this reminds me of the calico corn. It doesn't have as much blue in it as one of the other colorways, but it's definitely one of those calico corn, harvest corn husk, beautiful colors, almost candy corn. So yeah, I'm super jazzed to have another skein of that. That's super cute. This one might actually be from a different collection because it's got some yellows in here. Excuse me, some like creamy yellows. But that's another gorgeous one. And these are a couple of nice warm browns, a darker and a lighter. I feel like the color's picking up really well today. Or at least on these it is. It didn't feel like it was with the with my temperature skein. Temperature shawl. This is another color that I recognize. That's really pretty. So that might have been, this one might be out of the Christmas collection. The Christmas Advent. Or Winter Lodge Advent, I should say. Because that one looks familiar. And then we've got, I don't even remember, I think I bought 20 skeins, or, yeah, it had to have been 20 or 15. because there's way more than 10 here. And these are actually, they're different, but only just barely. Just barely. I think there's maybe a little tiny bit more green in the top one than in the bottom one. Those are pretty. This one's gorgeous. So this is a brownish, it's got like browns and purples, a little bit of reds, or it's got browns with purple tones. That one's really nice. Um, this is like, whoa. It's like a goldenrod color. Look at that. That's gorgeous. This is like a Hufflepuff yellow, is what I think of when I see this. It's like or almost a Gryffindor gold. It's like, it's yellow. So there's that one. There's this nice sort of brown gray. That's really pretty. And then, um, this one, this orangey gold kind of color. It is coming off more orange, so the red is still picking up too much on my camera, but that's really pretty. And then this, I think, is also from the Halloween collection, because that's a very harvesty kind of color. Focus, there we go. Harvesty, very pretty. And this gorgeous red brown, I like this a lot. Fantastic. And last but not least, two greens. And these are definitely very different greens. Very different feel with both of those. There we go. So we have a nice like forest hunter green on the bottom, and then that sort of creamy bluey green on the top. I like those. So let's see, that's 5, 10. Yep, I ordered 15. So, and you'll see, assuming she still has these, I don't know if she does. I haven't actually checked the website before I got on to film here. But you'll see she did a really great job of giving me different colors. So no two of these are the same. And really only 2 of those are even close to being a match. So that's really awesome. She did such a great job. So the only these 2 blues are very, very close, but they're not the same. So 15 different minis, and they are 15 different colors. And like I said, for the most part, there's only the 2 skeins that are even close to each other. So that's really nice. If you're looking for just some random colors just to kind of throw in and punch up your stuff. Now, I love her colors. She does a lot of, I wouldn't say muted, but she does these rich nature tones, which I think are fantabulous. I love it. Y'all know me, I love bright colors too. I love a bright rainbow, but I also love how rich these natural colors are too. So that's Rebel Woolworks, by the way. If she doesn't have these available, she will have something awesome available, because she always has something awesome available. She also has one of my favorite reds that I've ever seen in a yarn. She calls it the good red, because it really is the good red. It is fantastic tonal red, and it has these darker tones that make it really rich and vibrant and almost jewel-like. So yeah, check it out. If you haven't checked out Rebel Woolworks, and if she does have these skeins available, this is a great way to try out her product too, because you can get just one skein if you want. And I think she had them priced at like $2 or $3. So you can't go wrong, in my opinion. Yeah, so there's that. Now, the thing that I will be showing you, should be able to show you next week, my Little Bishes Stitches mini, all the things, what is it, the little things? Heike can correct me. I can't remember what the club is called, but I purchased the club, 12 months of the club. The first installment shipped in January and has been stuck in customs until February 19th. It is now here in Hopewell. It should have been delivered yesterday, but my mail person just put a slip in the mailbox instead of actually delivering it to me. So but as soon as I get a chance, I'm going to go pick that up today. So I should have those yarns in my hand today. Can you tell how excited I am? Heike has said that the colors are fantastic and they are gorgeous, and she said that I will love them. So I'm super, super excited. So that's going to be 5 mini skeins plus a mohair skein every single month. So yeah. So like I said, this should be January's installment. February's just shipped. within the last week or so, or 2 weeks. So I'll probably be at least a month behind because of the way things are going. But for the first one to have shown up finally, I'm so excited. I can't even tell y'all. I'm so excited. So excited. Anyway, so that'll be coming up next week. As far as plans, I have plans to finish some things. At the very least, I hope that Changing Staircases will be finished next week. I'm very excited to hopefully show you a finish on that. And I do want to finish the Empower People bandana fairly soon because that was supposed to have been done before November last year and it still isn't done. So yeah, I want to get both of those done. And maybe once I get both of those finished, we'll talk about what I might cast on next because it probably is about time for a new cast on, unless I decide that I want to work on some of my, excuse me, I have my Slow Cad, Secret Life of Cats and Dogs, Advent shawl still to work on. I have my Sharon Show shawl that I haven't touched in a while, so it might be time to pull that one back out. And I also have Sharon's glamping blanket. So all of those are still on the needles. I still have my sock on a needle. So I should maybe try to finish that at some point. But I think that's all I have on the needles. So it might be time. It might be time for something new. We'll have to see. So anyway, that's it for me today. I hope you're having a great one. I hope the rest of your week is easy breezy. I hope your brain is not being a toddler today. And I also want to remind you to stay hydrated. Make sure you're drinking more than just coffee. Make sure you're drinking some water. Make sure you're taking all the meds that you need to take. And remember that good enough is good enough. And I'll see you again next time. Have a great one.